According to a story broadcast on KOAT News 7 in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, a local teacher has been pressured to resign over a story a student wrote about Jesus. The creative writing assignment at Cleveland High School, which led to the issue, was for students to use a character from a legend or mythology and rewrite the tale in a modern setting. One of her students met the challenge by updating the New Testament account of Jesus at the wedding at Cana. In the pupil's new version, rather than turning water into wine, Jesus distributes marijuana to the sick. During peer review of the project, one student became offended and later told her parents, who complained, and the teacher, Katrina Guarisco, found herself placed on administrative leave. Guarisco said she felt intimidated and harassed to the point where she ultimately had no choice but to tender her resignation. In a parting statement for her students, Guarisco encouraged them to remain faithful to themselves in their storytelling. "Not everyone's going to agree with you," she said, "but that doesn't make your point invalid or worthless. Tell your story." A proposed $18 million in state tax incentives, which have been earmarked to help build an Ark theme park in northern Kentucky, will no longer be made available. In a letter written by the state's tourism secretary Bob Stewart on behalf of the State Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet, the position of the government was made apparent. State tourism tax incentives cannot be used to fund religious indoctrination or otherwise be used to advance religion. The use of state incentives in this way violates the separation of church and state provisions of the Constitutional and is therefore impermissible. The group opposing the park, Ken Ham's Answer in Genesis, appears to have inspired the state's decision by altering its proposed hiring standards. The new policy dictates that only those who support a literal interpretation of the Old Testament be hired, in particular those who believe in a young earth view found in the book of Genesis. A lawyer for Ham's group, James Parsons, plans to file suit as the board had previously agreed to allow Ark Encounter to keep 25% of all taxes levied over the past 10 years. However, upon reflection and consideration of the park's overtly religious message, that offer was rescinded. Parsons wrote of his intention to file suit, telling the cabinet, "If you insist on this newly imposed condition, it will amount to unconstitutional viewpoint discrimination, and my client will have no choice but to seek redress in federal court." A pastor at First Metropolitan Community Church in Wichita, Kansas, refuses to be cowed by threats. Reverend Jackie Carter was one of the first to begin officiating gay marriages last November after the U.S. Supreme Court denied a request by the state government to stay same-sex weddings while the courts considered a 2005 provision added to the state constitution banning gay marriage. Pastor Carter has been getting death threats and vandals broke windows at her church. However, she told reporters, "I'm not going to change my message of inclusion. I'm not going to change my message of love, and I'm not going to stop marrying people. I'm going to keep it up." She had made headlines on November 17th when she officiated at a mass wedding in which 15 same-sex couples were married simultaneously on the steps of the Wichita County Courthouse. In response to the threats of violence, the church has hired extra security and has asked the community for help in purchasing additional cameras.